The year was 1962. John Diefenbaker was Canada's Prime Minister. In the USA, John Kennedy was in the White House. Future actors Tom Cruise, Demi Moore, Jim Carrey, Jodie Foster, Ralph Fiennes, Steve Carell, Emilio Estevez, and Matthew Broderick were born. Future talk show hosts Jon Stewart, Rosie O'Donnell, and both Craig Kilborn and Craig Ferguson were also born. In Great Britain, Ringo Starr replaced Pete Best in The Beatles, while in Hollywood, Lawrence of Arabia won the Oscar for Best Picture. And in Bentonville, Arkansas, the first Walmart store opened. In Cuba, the Soviet and Cuban governments secretly built 9 missile bases. At the United Nations, the General Assembly passed a resolution condemning South Africa's apartheid policies. In space, John Glenn Jr. became the first American to orbit Earth, while on the Moon, the first U.S. rocket Ranger 4 landed. In much of the world, homosexuality was illegal, often punishable by death. Dick Van Dyke and Mary Tyler Moore on TV's Dick Van Dyke Show portrayed a married couple in the same bed, but were required to keep at least 1 foot on the floor at all times. On our radios and on our record players, we listened to I Can't Stop Loving You, sung by Ray Charles, Breaking Up is Hard to Do by Neil Sedaka, and If I Had a Hammer by Peter, Paul and Mary. Meanwhile, in Outremont, Quebec, the students of Outremont High School's class of 1962 carefully climbed over or around the rock in the middle of Mr. Bott's physics class. And Mr. Wensley's Little Books Club members met in secret to discuss The Catcher in the Rye after it was banned at the school because it contained 4-letter words. Now it's 2012. Stephen Harper is Canada's Prime Minister. The American president is African American. Well, half anyway. Tom Cruise professes to know more about mental illness than the leading psychiatrists. The Cold War and apartheid are mere memories, while a large number of Americans get their news exclusively from Jon Stewart's show. After 30 years, NASA's space shuttle program has shut down. In the U.S., the controversial Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy has been repealed. On TV, the popular sitcom Modern Family features a gay couple and their adopted daughter. On The Late Late Show, Craig Ferguson's sidekick is a gay skeleton robot. And in Canada and some U.S. states, gay couples may now get married. John Lennon and George Harrison are long dead, while Paul McCartney recently got married for the 3rd time. As for Ringo Starr, he's apparently on tour in Europe. By the way, there are now 8,500 Walmart stores. On TV, some of the most watched shows are Jersey Shore, American Idol, and The Real Housewives of everywhere. On our iPods, iPads, iPhones, and whatever else Steve Jobs thought of, we're listening to I Kissed a Girl by Katy Perry, Sexy and I Know It by LMFAO, and Moves Like Jagger by Maroon 5. And that book that Mr. Wensley was prevented from discussing, The Catcher in the Rye, it's now required reading in many high school English classes. To all of us in the 1962 Outremont High School graduating class celebrating our 50th reunion, we've made it from John Fitzgerald Kennedy to Barack Hussein Obama, from Paul Anka and Elvis Presley to Justin Bieber and Lady Gaga, from Sing Along with Mitch to Glee, from Dr. Kildare and Ben Casey to Dr. Phil and Dr. Oz, and from the Beverly Hillbillies to the Kardashians. Congratulations and best wishes for a very memorable 50th reunion. See you at the 100th. I'm Laura Thaw, and I approve this message.